if I can see it. Yep, I can see it. So there's Kai and I are going to sit down. And we're going to have career talk. And this thing better be taping because...
It records automatically? You know?
Yeah, it does. Yep, so we're talking career. So Kai, you're in what grade now?
Grade 11.
You're in grade 11?
Yeah.
Well, grade 11 is a challenging year because you got to be thinking about what you want to do and you got to make big decisions. And
Yeah.
what sort of courses you taking?
I've taken like 3 sciences: biology, chemistry, physics. Taken introduction to Canadian law. Taken Canadian history past the 1500s. English. Advanced functions. That's math.
Yes,
And,
functions and relations and calculus. Those are the
Yeah.
courses I used to take when I was in high school.
and then physical education.
That's good.
Yeah.
And I used to be in the damn honor roll. Are you in the honor rolls?
Right now, no.
Why are you not on the honor rolls?
I had like the first 2 classes. I didn't do very good in biology, but I'm going to be after this quarter. My average is going to come back.
So Kai's taking all the courses that I used to take when I was in high school. I did physics, chemistry, biology, functions and relations, calculus, because I wanted to be a doctor. But I ended up being a lawyer. So you're taking good courses.
Yeah.
And then you're taking physical education,
Yeah.
and you could jump.
Yes, sir.
I saw the pictures. I was quite impressed with the young self. They were my favorite pictures. And you play volleyball.
Yes, sir.
So you play volleyball as a form of recreation or competitive sports.
Competitive sports.
Okay, that's good. And where is that supposed to lead you?
Hopefully, it could lead me to
Mhm.
like playing in college as well.
Okay.
But if it doesn't, that's fine too.
And talking about college or university
University.
we're talking about? This is what we're talking about there.
University.
Good. So you got university 4 years,
Mm.
and so 4 years for undergraduate degree,
Yeah.
and then after that, what you gonna do?
Law school, hopefully.
Good. Now, Kai and I know each other since Kai was like 7. It was a little thing like this, and Kai has come to court with me in Canada and in Guyana. So 2 continents. Can you believe it? Remember the commission we did in Georgetown?
Yeah.
And you got to sit at council table and all that sort of stuff?
Yeah.
You had to be about 8 or 9 then.
10.
Oh, you were
10.
10. Okay. You were 10?
10 going on 11 now.
Okay. Well, that was, 2016. You got a good grasp of the age. I lost track of it. So, yes, it was 2016. And so Kai used to come, and the police driver used to take him home. Or the police driver, when he gets tired of being at the commission. But you wanted to be a lawyer when you were younger. Any changes, or you still want to be a lawyer?
It's just I see more options for career paths in terms of like end goal jobs that I could like, make a lot of money in. But it's like, so like that's one that since I've had my eye on it since I was younger, it's still something that I like stick to, and that I like will always be something I say when someone asks what I want to do when I grow older.
Yes, and that's what you're thinking about.
Well, it's just as I'm getting to be an adult, and I can like start to understand like that there's different jobs that are always going to be needed.
Yeah, like what?
Not really like listing, but like I remember I talked to one of my aunts about maybe like psychiatry as one. But then I understand that's like a medical practice as well.
Yeah, so you have to be a doctor.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you wanted to be a psychiatrist, I'd be cool with that.
Yeah.
I'd approve of that. I say so. I expect Kai to be a lawyer. But if Kai doesn't become a lawyer, You know, if he gets into a profession like medicine or something, I'd be fine with it. You're not allowed to get any bomb jobs. You understand me?
I understand.
You better not. You better not get no bomb ass jobs. I would be very unimpressed with you. Well, not only unimpressed, but unhappy.
I would be too.
You shouldn't be a 33-year-old or a 33-year-old begging people for money and all that sort of nonsense. You know, if you commit yourself to studies right now, you're 16. You know, I mean, if you study hard, you can be a lawyer at 26 or a doctor at 26. Because you're grade 11, you'll be 17 in grade 12. First year university, you're 18. By the time you're 21, 22, you get your first degree. And then you get your second degree. You go to law school or med school. You know, but you gotta work hard. It's not gonna be easy. You gotta work hard. But when you work hard, you get the rewards.
Yeah.
And the damn rewards are that, see how nice my office is?
Yeah.
Like it?
I do.
Yeah, so if you study hard, you're gonna get nice real estate, you know, you get nice office somewhere downtown. You get to see a tower from the window. It's a nice office. And so Kai came to the office and he's hanging with me. This is the office. All my nice books. Everything else. All studying hard, guy. But studying hard gets give you rewards because you don't have to have roommates. You don't have to be impoverished. If you want to spend $10,000, you can spend it and not worry about it.
Yeah.
If you're making money, you're making good money. You're not making peanuts. My rate as a lawyer is $500 an hour. My time is not cheap.
Yeah.
So you gotta study hard. And you gotta do what you need to do to become a lawyer. Or a doctor.
Yes, sir.
Right?
Yeah.
So questions.
Like, when you're in university, do you have much flexibility in terms of like changing your mind about what profession you want to go?
Yes.
through?
Yes. When I was in first year university, I wanted to become a doctor. So remember I told you all the
Yeah.
sciences that I studied in school?
Yeah.
And so I have a lot of friends who are doctors now because we all went to high school with the goal and the desire to be doctors. When I was in university, things changed and I decided I wanted to be a lawyer. So I started getting involved in a lot of social justice events and so on around 1992. And so I decided I wanted to become a lawyer, and so my studies in university was geared to becoming a lawyer. You know, I took all the nice law courses, philosophy of law, issues in philosophy of law, and I still got the books from university undergraduate. Let me see if I could find one of them. Look at this guy. I still got my issues in philosophy of law readings from since 1994. Can you believe it? Look at it. Issues in philosophy of law. See? And these are
Textbook?
yeah, this was my readings from university. See, all you can take a look at it. Dworkin and everybody else, HLA Hart and a whole bunch of philosophers, legal philosophers. So there we go. Huh?
Sin the form
Oh yeah, it's but you see the readings that we had. These are all grounded for law. taking rights seriously. Natural law, natural rights. The rule of law is virtue, this is res, and there's some cases. Is there a prima facie obligation to obey the law? All kinds of stuff. So this is since 1994. So I started doing law-related courses. I kept some of the textbooks. This textbook is probably older than you, 10, 11 years older than you are. So there you go. So so you take the courses that you want to take in university. I mean, law encompasses everything, right?
Yeah.
So if you do a degree in music, it's helpful. If you do a bachelor's in science and engineering, it's helpful. You could even do a bachelor's in medicine, MBBS, and you could still become a lawyer. There are people who are doctors and lawyers. And you're young, and of course, you have me to connect with.
Yeah.
So you're kind of lucky in that respect. So you'll be fine when you go to university. You'll be just fine as long as you study and you get good grades.
Mm-hmm.
And you decide you want to choose a profession, you'll be good.
Yeah. And is it easy to get an actual working job coming out of law school?
Yeah, you're connected to the legal profession already. You're not disadvantaged that way. The fact that you're sitting in Selwyn's office tells you how advantageous you at what an advantage you have. A lot of black kids don't have access to lawyers or their friends.
Yeah.
They know since they were growing up. You have that access. So I don't see a problem as long as I don't see a problem with you finding your way in the legal profession. I mean, you've been to legal events, you've been to take your kids to work there, the Law Society of Ontario, you've been to some events, and so if you want to study law, I mean you're 16. When you at 18 you should be in university.
Yeah.
We'll get you jobs around here or some law office or something so you can continue to acclimatize yourself. There's a young lawyer now that's doing amazing work. A young lawyer named Rick Frank. And Rick Frank came here when he was 18. I'm so proud of that guy. He came here when he was 18, and now Rick Frank is a very, very good lawyer. But Rick Frank knew what he wanted to do. He wanted to become a good lawyer. He worked hard, came here. This was his first exposure, and it was a tough exposure. I trained him well. I was very strict. And so, the lawyer that he's working for now compliments me, tells me how happy he is with Rick. And I'm happy with Rick because I get Rick to do stuff. I can call Rick and I can get advice from Rick, or Rick can call me and get advice from me on some things that's troubling him, or so that if he needs a precedent, he could call me.
Yeah.
So it's all connections. So you're not impoverished that way in terms of knowing people or trying to know people or trying to find your way. So you'll be fine. All right. So that was a long answer to a question. And it went meandered.
Yeah.
Next question.
So once you start you actually in the legal profession, how does it work? As in working your way up through the ranks.
I think you have to. I think you have to do good work. That's number one. Number two, you have to have integrity because your name is in law. Your name is what matters, right? So your name is Dekiah Marshall, and if you're known for being straightforward, if you're known for being honest, if you're known for being truthful, if you're known for keeping your word, that takes you a long way in the profession because you know they're bad lawyers, they're good lawyers, and they're in between lawyers. But I mean, working your way through the profession as well means connecting with the right people, connecting with mentors that provide you with good opportunities. Because
Yeah.
if you get good opportunities, you're gonna rise through the profession. But you gotta be bright too. You gotta be really smart. You gotta be intellectually curious. You gotta do good work. You gotta think on your feet and you gotta write well.
Yeah.
You read a lot?
Yeah, I do. Well, not as much anymore. As
What
I
do you
used
mean
to.
not as much anymore?
Consuming my medias in other ways now.
TikTok and Snapchat and Facebook and Instagram I'm not reading. So, you reading books?
I don't. I read books for school.
Good. Well, that's fine, but you're gonna have to find hobbies that involve reading too.
Okay.
You know, reading like, if you want to become a lawyer or a doctor, reading the New York Times, the Washington Post, the Wall Street Journal, the Globe and Mail. You read those papers, right?
No, sir.
You don't read the Globe and Mail?
No, not really.
You know
When
what
I'm-
the Globe
when
and
I'm
Mail
doing-
is?
Yeah, it's like a I don't know if it's a news outlet or what, but
It's one of Canada's oldest newspapers. It's a business newspaper. So you're gonna have to, you understand me? You're gonna have to start reading like the
yeah,
Globe and Mail.
like
and stuff.
I use those like outlets when I'm looking for something specific.
Yeah.
Like if I'm looking for something for a project or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't read the papers?
No, I don't read the daily papers anymore.
Well, you're gonna have to start reading the papers. They're all online and free.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna send you this recording. You're gonna have to read the New York Times, the Wall Street Journal, the
Yeah.
Times of London. Read. I mean, the more, if you want to become a lawyer or a doctor or any profession, even in business, you're gonna have to communicate with people.
Yeah.
And the thing about it is, the more wider your expansive your knowledge is, the better it is for you. I mean, when I was 16, when I was your age, I was in an uncertain world. But one thing I knew, I wanted to become as a doctor, right?
Yeah.
I knew I wanted to become a doctor, and so I was working. I was working to become a doctor. So I was hanging out with doctors. I was learning languages. I was listening to the BBC and all kind of stuff. I was just intellectually curious.
Yeah.
And sometimes young people aren't intellectually curious. Some young people. But you have to be if you want to be a professional. You have to be intellectually curious. And it means reading.
Yeah.
I'm telling you that. That's why all those books are up there. And they're not all law books. If you look up top there, you'll see some of them are actually novels. John Grisham and all those guys. Gotta read. I just bought The Judge that I was supposed to read on my holidays, and I haven't gotten around to reading it yet. Where is it? It's probably sitting on my desk somewhere. But I was supposed to read a whole book over the holidays, but the holidays haven't ended yet, so I might sit right in this chair and read it. All right, so Kai just asked me about what courses he should take and what he should be reading and what he should be doing. What's your next question?
Right. In terms of choosing which sector of law you'd like to work in, how should you do that?
Well, it all depends on what your interest is. So you want to always find things that you like to do, but you want to find things that could make you money as well.
Yeah.
So it's two aspects of law. So it's like me, I'm interested in social justice and human rights and policing and so on. But as well, I got to make money. So I do corporate commercial law, I do securities law,
Yeah.
I do banking law, I do a whole civil litigation, I do a whole expanse of other things. But the things that I do bring in money so that I can do the stuff that I want to do that people can't afford to pay me for.
Yeah.
So like my human rights law, I do it mostly pro bono, free.
Yeah.
because people can't afford to pay for that. So there you go. So you can do whatever you want to do, whatever your choice is, as long as it's making money. All right.
Yeah.
Next question.
Living in the city doesn't make it easier in terms of getting clients.
What's that?
Living in the city doesn't make it easier in terms of getting clientele and getting work.
Well, it's all about reputation. I don't advertise. I'm a very busy lawyer. I don't advertise, but I have a reputation. And my reputation brings in clients, and clients refer other clients. And whether I live in the city or not, I could be living in Guyana and I'll still be making money here. But that's because of my reputation. But that's because law has transformed itself too. So I don't have to be here. Most of the law now is online via Zoom or WebEx or Microsoft Teams or one of the online portals. So I can be anywhere and still attract the clients here and still do their work. Next question. Guy gets to ask me 101 questions. But I decided to record it because it's important, because I think the questions are going to help me and help him and help other you. So next question.
Give me a second to formulate this one.
Yes, well, you formulated quite a few good ones so far, so that's fine if you have one for the questions too. I mean, Kai, you got to know that law school, undergraduate is 4 years.
Yeah.
And law is 3 years, right? So that's 7 years. And then you get 1 more year for article in. So that's 8 years. And then you get called to the bar. So let's say you go to university at 18.
Yeah.
Then by 22 you got your degree. By 26 you become a lawyer. You got 50 years to work until you're 75.
Yeah. So then how does
Hang on, does that make sense to you?
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
Yeah. So think about it. You become a lawyer at 25 or 26, and you get to work till you're 75. That's like 50 years of solid, productive work. And in a profession.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
By the time you're 30 or 40, you're sitting pretty. You know, how hard is that?
Gotta work hard.
No, but how hard is that to commit 8 years of your life to get to a profession that makes you set for the rest of your life?
It's not hard.
Good.
It's not hard at all. Yeah.
Good. So it makes sense to you?
Yeah.
Good. So, yeah, you were going to ask a question and I interrupted you.
Yeah. How it differs, like working for yourself or a firm versus working for the government?
Well, I worked for the government for 5 years. So I worked for the government from 1999 to 2005. I worked for the federal government, and then I worked for the municipal government part-time as a prosecutor as well. So I've got government experience, and government teaches you organizational skills because government runs on a machine. And so I had worked for the Immigration and Refugee Board, and I used to do 2 cases a day, 2 hearings a day. So at least I had at least 10 files a week. And so I had to be very organized, very prepared, very disciplined. And I found the government experience helped me in private practice to be organized. And so I find working for the government is indispensable. Plus it gives you an inside connection to the government. You learn how government works.
Yeah.
You get an inside feel for, the bureaucracy and how to maneuver through the various levels and all that sort of stuff. And that experience still helps me now to cut through bureaucracy when I have to deal with client matters with the government.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's government. Working for firms are good because you have an infrastructure that supports you. So when I articled at a firm of 9 lawyers, and so I learned valuable insights into docketing, billing, client management, and all that sort of stuff. Working for yourself at this point in my career is good because I get to hire other lawyers and other staff, and I get to control my time. You know, I wanted to be a judge, and then I changed my mind because being a judge, I can't control my time. Other people controls that.
Yeah.
But right now, I control my time. If I want to come into work from 2 o'clock in the afternoon until 2 in the morning, I can. You know, no one can tell me when to work, how not to work. I choose how to work. I choose my clients, right?
Yeah.
You know, my clients have to be aligned with the philosophy of what I want to do. You know, I just don't take on clients because they call me or they're there. You know, so, you know, I get to choose who my clients are. I get to choose my work. I get to choose my practice areas. I get to choose my schedule. It's a whole bundle of autonomy. But it's also a risk and benefits as well. The risk is you got to make money to pay all the overhead, to
Yeah.
pay staff, to pay for office space, to pay for supplies, to pay suppliers, you know that sort of stuff. But you know, so there you go. So you can hook up with the government, you can hook up with a firm,
Yeah.
or you could work for yourself. Or of course you could come work for Selwyn in 8 years. You know, but you got to be studying law.
Yeah.
Well, but you could come work for me 2 years as I was in university. Take care of you. Set you right, but if you're not in university, not happening, bro. It's not happening. But as I was in university, you'll be fine. Next question, or you had
I got
enough questions?
a couple more.
Oh, you got
So
more
yeah.
questions?
So after you've been a lawyer for like a certain amount of years, I know you can take the road to becoming a judge, but like what are there any other like professions or any other things you can do like after you feel like you're finished and being a lawyer but you still want to work in the legal practice?
Yes, there are a lot of, that's a good question too. There are lots of things you could do. You could be a mediator and an arbitrator. So you could sort of, you know, you sit in your office or you sit in the chambers and you arbitrate disputes. So that's not a judge, that's alternate dispute resolution. That's trying to get the parties together and finding a solution to their problems.
Yeah.
So you can be a mediator and mediator in that sense. And that's a huge area that a lot of lawyers and even retired judges go into after a while. You can also, of course, you can become a judge if you want, but there's hundreds of tribunals in Ontario and in Canada that deals with issues that are not judged, like they're quasi-judicial. You can sit on a tribunal and adjudicate like human rights matters, landlord and tenant matters,
Yeah.
other disputes such as social benefits, even kids. Like kids get into trouble, there's the Child and Family Services Act that deals with kids, and there's actually a tribunal that deals with issues involving children, where they're expelled from schools. You know, there's a hearing to determine whether the expulsion should be upheld or whether it should be revoked. And there are other things like the Children Aid Society work. There's you could go into private practice, advising corporations on different issues, or you could even form your own corporation. You can sit on boards of directors, and like you could sit on the Human Rights Commission. You can sit on private boards like the Toronto Star or other places. So you could be a compliance officer somewhere. You could be a privacy officer. There are tons. You could even go into politics.
Mm.
You know, a lot of lawyers are politicians. So there are lots of things that you can do, or you could be a consultant. So lots of things outside of being a lawyer and a judge if you're tired of that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, like, how does law different
Mhm.
countries? Like, how does practicing different, like, from when you practice here or when you practice in, like, Trinidad or somewhere else?
Well, it's not too different because they're all like Guyana, Trinidad, and Ontario, Canada. They're all Commonwealth countries. They're all common law-based countries, and so Guyana and Trinidad, their law as well as Canadian law derive itself from the common law, and then their legislation as well. For example, in Trinidad and Guyana, their company law comes from our law. They took our law and adopted it to their law, so that's easy. Administrative law, same concepts, right? Legitimate expectations, all that sort of stuff, the Caribbean does, right? Then you have criminal law, same concept. All these countries are British Commonwealth countries that were once colonial, colonized by Britain. So the law, the thinking are the same. So it's easy to adopt in Guyana. Sometimes I'm just doing a case in Guyana,
Yeah.
and the judge asked me for Canadian case law. Right, so I had to send him some Canadian case law for him to consider on a discrete issue. So, I mean, for me, I find maneuvering these countries to be quite easy. And interestingly enough, I've been practicing in the Caribbean for 10 years. So this year I made my 10th year since I've been practicing in the Caribbean. And then I'm in the Canadian legal field between the Immigration and Refugee Board in 1999 and private practice in 2005. I've been in the Canadian legal arena for 21 years. So time just flies.
And you have to write like a separate like test or like bar or whatever when you're like practicing it in the Caribbean.
Yes, so if you're a lawyer in Canada, you don't have to write a test, but what you have to do is you have to go to the Caribbean and do 6 months, but you don't have to go there now.
Yeah.
Like I wish if I had done it now, because like with COVID, you could just do it through Zoom, right?
Yeah.
So you didn't have to uproot yourself from Canada to go to Trinidad. When I went in 2011, I had to move to Trinidad. But perhaps it was better because you get to know the culture
Yeah.
in Trinidad, and you get to make friends with a lot of people, and it was a change of environment for 6 months. So you take a 6-month conversion course if you're a lawyer here, and then you become a lawyer there. You don't have to write no bar exams or anything,
Yeah.
but you have to spend 6 months as you would in law school. Let me show you the degrees and explain them to you. You come over. Ooh. I'm getting old and tired. That's what happens with old age. Stand up there. Get a picture with the books. Come here, you. Those are Kai clothes in the background. I got him a whole bunch of clothes, and he likes them. He actually tried them on, and they fit perfect, right?
Yes, sir.
So Kai is 16 years old, but Kai has opportunities that I don't have. I didn't have access to lawyers like this when I was 16. Are you mad? Well, I lied. I had access to Rupert Trim, old lawyer from Winker Road. So turn around. So that's my law school degree.
Mm-hmm.
This is all the black.
So that way, that's undergrad.
No, that's the law.
That's the
degree.
law. That's the law school.
This is the undergrad degree.
Okay.
So that's my undergrad degree from U of T, and I got that degree in 1997, I think. And then this is my certificate of enrollment as a lawyer in Trinidad. See there. And then when I was at U of T, I was involved in student leadership, and this is a prize award. That's why it's sitting right where I could see it. This is the Gordon Cressy Student Leadership Award in 1995. An amazing thing. I really love it. So it sits right where I could see it. I got a Race Relations Award in 2007, and I like that too. So it sits here. This here was a murder case I did in 2006. The Jane Creeper murder. The Jane Creeper murder case, and I got sketched. They don't take pictures in court, they do sketches. So there it is. And that's me when I was 18.
Coming up on that age.
You know what? I was unsure of myself. Look at it, but I had a nice picture. This had to be like a high school picture. I think that's what it is, a high school picture. And I still have it. And it sits in my office to remind me of my ambition, where I'm at today. And this is my LEC from Hillwood Law School. We're just talking about being called to the bar in the Caribbean. So there it is. So Kai is a 16-year-old boy. But I know Kai since Kai was what, like how old were you when I met
7, 8.
Yeah, Kai was a little thing like that. But now look at it, he's probably taller than I am. Come here, let me see. Oh shit, how tall are you, son?
5'11".
You're not no damn 5'11".
The shoes add a couple inches.
You're not 5'11". You're the same. You're 6 feet. You're not no damn 5'11". You're 5'11".
The shoes add some height.
Oh, your shoes add some height. I should have let you tuck it off because I don't even walk in my office with street shoes. And you come into my office where I walk barefooted with street shoes. I hope
them off.
I hope it doesn't. Look, I see something there. Look like what is that?
Here?
I hope that's not a piece of something to stick me. No, it isn't. Thank goodness. All right, we're gonna end this live because I think we done talk. There you go.